Bro, I probably look so fucking crazy right now. I'm in a Target parking lot with my phone on my dashboard being held up by my shoe, just talking to myself. I'm a sucker for you. Look, I'm wearing a Garfield shirt. I got it at Target. Oh no, there's a car coming. They're gonna see me talking to my shoe. Alright, what's poppin', gamers? Today we're gonna be looking at a subreddit called r/entitledparents. That subreddit has been growing like crazy this year and it's been popping up all over YouTube. So I decided I'd give it a go. But before voiceover me takes it away, I just wanted to say thank you for 35 subscribers. Y'all are pretty cool. Okay, that was weird. I hate being sappy. Alright, bye face cam. I don't know if this belongs here, but his mom certainly defended his behavior. This is going to be kind of a long one, so bear with me. This happened 3 years ago, but I remember everything like it happened yesterday. So a little backstory to help you realize how much this devastated my sister. I got my sister the limited edition Pokemon XY Nintendo 3DS XL along with Pokemon Y for Christmas 2013. She was an 8-year-old at the time. One thing to understand about my sister is that she has autism. It's not especially severe, but her emotions are a bit on the strong side, and she was going through therapy to help her gain control of them. My sister, bless her soul, is obsessed with Pokemon. I introduced it to her in the hopes that she would be able to find a creative outlet, which she did. I grew up playing Pokemon, so it filled me with joy that she became such a fan. The XY 3DS XL became one of her most cherished possessions. It never left her side. She took it with her everywhere we went. Fast forward to March 20th, 2015. I had taken my sister to the park after her appointment with her therapist, and she was sitting beside me playing Pokemon Omega Ruby. She was deeply engaged in her game, and I was just sitting there observing her. I'd always enjoyed watching how she played. Neither of us saw the little boy who wandered over. EB, entitled brat. Sister / Claire is my sister. EP is entitled psychopath of a mother, and me is me. So EB stares at Claire as she's playing, switching his gaze between her and the 3DS. She tends to get very uncomfortable when other people aside from me watch her, so she starts to fidget some and then looks at me. Being the introvert she is, she hates confrontation, so I place a hand on hers to let her know it will be okay. I lean over to look at the boy, who couldn't have been any older than 9 years old, and address him as politely as I can. Me. Excuse me, how can we help you? I want to play! I smile apologetically. I'm sorry, but it's my sister's game and she doesn't like to let other people use it. I want to play too! EB was beginning to get worked up now, stomping on the ground. Let me play! I'm sorry, I said no. Please go play with the other children. I could feel Claire beginning to tense up under my hand. Being the protective big sister I am, I did not want an escalation for her sake. It happened anyway. No! Let me play Pokemon now! EB ran at my sister and attempted to snatch her Nintendo 3DS XL out of her hands. She screamed and jerked it away, collapsing into me. I grabbed her and managed to keep myself from falling into the metal bench and righted us both, getting up and placing myself between the boy and her. My sister was cowering behind me. Listen to me right now. I said no, and I mean no. Where are your parents? Take me to them immediately. I didn't even need to say anything else because EB's mother was making her way over right then. Is that your mom? EB responds by kicking me in the shin. I grimaced and held back my reaction, still holding firm between them. What's going on here? I heard my son shouting. He tried to steal my sister's game from her after I told him he could not play it. Well, why don't you just let him play for a few minutes? I don't see why you can't share. At this, EB started bouncing up and down and giggling like a 6-year-old. The sight disgusted me. Because I said no. We don't have to share, and besides, it's my sister's game, not mine. So I don't get to make that decision. Even if I did, I'm not going to make her share if she doesn't want to. Mom, I want to play Pokemon! In a minute, dear. EP looked behind me at my still cowering sister. She looks too old for anyway. Just give it to him. Excuse me? You heard me? I felt a tug on my sleeve from behind me, and I turned to look at Claire. I want to go home. Turning was a mistake. As soon as I took my eyes off EB and EP, the little brat darts away from us and tackles my sister, ripping the system out of her hand and breaking the wrist strap. My sister screams and both fall to the ground. I immediately dive to keep her from hitting her head, catching her in my arms as EB runs back to his mom. Me, screaming. Control your son! He could have hurt her doing that! EP was extremely dismissive. He just wanted to play the game and you wouldn't let him. I checked to make sure my sister was okay. She was trembling and crying, but otherwise unhurt. I stood up and brushed myself off and held up my hand. Give me back the system. Now. No, I want to play! I don't care what you want. Give it back now. Don't you talk to my son that way, young lady. You can have your game back when he is done. No, I will have it back now. I move to grab my sister's 3DS XL and EB screams and fucking throws it towards the parking lot. Time seemed to slow down for me. I watched as it arced through the air and appeared to fall in slow motion. I ran to grab it, but was too late. The system landed on the asphalt with a sickening crunch, and EB ran over and stomped hard on the shell. I knew by that crack that he had broken the system permanently. I lost my temper. Disclaimer, I know I didn't handle this well at all, but I lost my temper. My sister was screaming and crying, and it sent me over the edge. I was seeing red and black spots. What the fuck is your problem? What makes you think you had the right to do that? EB is screaming. I don't remember what he said, but his mom rushes over and shoves me, grabbing her kid. You quit shouting at my boy. He destroyed our property. You should control your fucking vagina, gremlin, instead of letting him run around and stealing and destroying property. EP then smacks me in the face. Oh my god. And I throw her to the ground. I call the police, and within a matter of minutes, a patrol car is on the scene. They both give separate testimonies to different officers. I'm trying to comfort my crying and extremely distraught sister as I speak to the officer. EP tried to convince the police that I had assaulted her son and then attacked her when she so bravely stepped in. They didn't buy it. I was asked if I wanted to press charges. Fuck yes, I did. She was made to pay in full for the value of the 3DS and was arrested for destruction of personal property and assault. I got off with a warning just to call the police immediately next time. Don't fuck with my sister. Yes, we did get a replacement 3DS. Well, that's good to hear. And I put this last part in, the anecdote, because I totally agree with it. While special needs kids do sometimes need modified care, everyone, regardless of their needs, deserves respect and kindness. I work with kids, both special needs and typical, and I could never imagine me or any parent or any of the other workers treating any child like this kid and his mother did. So the anecdote is, I know everyone here knows this, but I feel the need to say it anyway. Please, for the love of God, don't pick on autistic children. They need gentleness and kindness. They are not stupid, and though some of them may not understand everything around them, autistic children still have emotions, and they need to be treated with the same love and kindness that you would give your own sibling. My sister has high-functioning Asperger's, but her emotional imbalance makes her very prone to nervous breakdowns and fits. She requires special care so she doesn't break down into tears, which is part of the reason I exploded that day. Please be careful with how you treat others, regardless of whether they have autism or not. Sure, accessible parking spots are for just you because you have crotch goblins. This is a story of a while back when I was about 16 or 17. I worked in an open-air museum with their parking lot. During the summer, we have a rush hour with multiple buses and lots of people in the car. The open-air museum has 2 parking spots for invalid people. However, during rush hour, we move signs to create more if needed. So this one day, a large BMW comes in and parks in one of the spots for the disabled. As I was the closest, I went to check up on it, as we have a lot of taxis who also park there. Lo and behold, I did not see the required window sticker saying that they are disabled. So I knock on the window to talk to the mother, EM, behind the wheel. I never got her name, but I am sure it was Karen. I told her my usual run of, "Good morning. I'm not sure if you noticed, but you're in an accessible parking spot and I don't happen to see a card. Do you have one?" Despite the fact that it's hard to miss the signs telling it's an accessible parking spot. I was always taught to assume the incompetence of someone rather than malicious intent. EM looked me dead in the eyes with the face that could kill. "We have children," was her reply, and opened the door, pushing me aside. I told her that, "Sorry, you have to park somewhere else." At this time it got busy, and the parking lot farthest away needed to be opened up. She looked over to where the cars were going and said, "That's too far away. There are no disabled people coming here anyway. Why should they? This is important later," karma being served. I tried to reason with her again, but she just ignored me. I called my manager to talk to her, but it didn't go much different. So my manager told me to call in the tow company that was normally called in the situation. Here's the tricky part. The parking lot is privately owned, and the police do not enforce upon it. The towing company takes 3 hours to arrive and set up. However, in the meantime, a small tour with disabled people entered. It was about 4 cars in total that needed a special spot. It was getting stuffed, and we could not find a spot for the last car because EM parked in that spot. This can always happen, and normally we use the bus parking space for the group, but we had run out of those too. My manager just asked for the phone number and told them to park in front of the EM's car. It was the only way. When EM came back with her crotch goblin, she was furious that she was not able to leave. We were willing to call the owner of the car and do a little swap, but when she came in screaming about how we are breaking the rules and how she will get us fired, I saw something snap in my manager. He calmly told EM that they could do nothing as it was a car with a disabled sticker and thus the rules were different. She had to wait for them to come back. I had to call the tow company and ask them to wait just on the other side in case we had to tow. EM calls the police and tries to blame us for having her child miss some important event. Despite the police not being able to give tickets on a private parking spot, they were none too pleased about EM using that parking spot. They had a little talk with my manager and the owner of the blocking car, and the tow company was called again. The truck was there within a few minutes, and the police went off to ask for EM's statement to distract her while the tow truck went to work. I never forget the eyes on EM's face when she realized that the car towed was her own. She was completely dumbfounded. My manager told me that in the end, she had to take 2 buses to get to the impound center and get her car back. A few weeks later, we did receive a complaint letter from her lawyer that told us to cover all damages or else. I don't know how it ended though. I doubt the museum paid any damages. I have become more hardened to those who park in the spots without having a label under the window. Jeez, things like that make me mad. I don't know how I would deal with this person if I ever met them in real life. And that's all for this week's video. Thank you for listening to r/entitledparents with me, or reading it with me, following along with me, acting it out with me. I don't know, whatever you did. Let me know if you liked this kind of style where I'm just reading it and have it, you know, playing in the background, or if you like face cam. I don't really have a preference, so just let me know what you think. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe. And also, subscribe. Alright, I'll see you next week.